All right, so I have things to talk about in this video. It's gonna be all Stranger Things. But before that happens, I have a quote. Um, Two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity. But I'm not sure about the universe. That's Albert Einstein. That's crazy, bro. And I'm not sure about the universe. But yeah, Albert Einstein's a crazy man. Anyways, so Stranger Things. Um, wow, dude, I I know the ending was very controversial. But we're not just going to talk about that. I'm going to recap the season and talk about a lot of stuff from there. And then we're going to focus on the ending, the final episode. And then we're going to focus on one thing in particular that is probably the biggest mystery of the series, the ending. So, episode one. Let me just make sure I have the episodes out so I remember. But episode one was we kind of just jumped into things. Um, right. We kind of just jumped into things out of the nowhere. Oh, I got them. Yeah, it's the crawl. So we kind of jumped into it, and the military's been here for a little bit. We learned that the giant, the bridge, whatever that Vecna opened at the end of season four, was covered up with this band aid. They called it. Um, yeah, obviously it was still a bridge, but we didn't. As far as we were like, okay, but wasn't it? I don't know. We didn't really have an answer that season four exactly why he needed it. So it was just, do we know there was a thing? The government hit it. We also, I think in this episode, we learned that the government is still after, yeah, this episode still, we learned the government's after 11. And I guess, she said, I remember Dr. K, Sarah Connor, she said she believed that, I'm putting on glasses, 11 was responsible for everything. That was all her fault, you know? She believed she was gonna, no, it wasn't that episode. That was in the episode she said that. But they're still after her, right? They introduced this new general guy or sergeant, whatever he was, but he was like one of the new military dude. Yeah, and then at the Holly became main character, and we saw the very end ended with the Demogorgon showing up at her house, doing a roar thing at her. We also learned she has an imaginary friend. Um, that's kind of it. There wasn't really much. Everybody else can really talk about that. But then there was the vanishing of Holly Wheeler. She was taken. Um, Karen and what's her name? Karen. Yeah, and it was Karen, the dad, the kid and the dad, right? They will find out pretty much about everything. About the Demogorgon, you know. Karen with her wine, stabbed that thing so many times and was bleeding, which was crazy to me. But then the dad with his golf club swung at it and just did this, bro. That's what it did. That is what it did. But it did nothing. But anyways, Karen stabbed it with a wine bottle, made it bleed, which was crazy. Then it took Holly and dipped. Nancy saw that and locked in. The rest of the season, she locked in. She always locks in though. Let's be real. Like she's amazing. She's probably my favorite female character in the show. I do really like Joyce. I love her character, but Nancy kind of when she shows up with her gun, whatever. Uh, I think it was in the Craw episode where she said it. She I won't mention what she said, but in that episode alone, it's yeah. If you choose an episode, you can tell she's locked in. That she's in. Chapter three, the Turnbow Trap. So they find out that they're going to take other kids, and also I did mention in the previous episode that we find out that Will can tap into the Demogorgon. I think we saw it in the Craw episode, but the Vanishing of Hollow Wheeler, we found out that he can tap into the hive mind when he's close to it. And he walked by this kid Derek, who's the peak bro, and he was able to see through Derek's eyes because Vecna was stalking him. He was like, so they went. Kid drugged them all. Well, who went with her? Oh, it was Lucas and Robin went to visit her grandma. Got there's military, so she went into another room, stole drugs. It was like, all right, we're gonna drug these guys. They're talking about how like we don't know exactly how long it's take for everyone to pass out. It depends on all the things, whatever. Yeah, but what's her face? Erica made sure to drug everybody real good. It was insane. You know, then they had in my opinion, this episode it reminded me a lot of season one when they were trying to they set up a trap for the Demogorgon in the first place. You know, like when Steve kind of became a main character. Like it was her and John. It was Nancy and Jonathan, right? Yeah, I think it was Nancy and Jonathan that locked in, booted out the house. Then then after like Steve went, it was talking to her or whatever. And she was practicing with the bat, and he's like, "Whoa, hopefully that's not for me," whatever he said. Left, and then he came back, and the Demogorgon was there. Yeah, it reminded me of that. Except the difference is that trap didn't work well. It was there's barely much there. Whatever. There's a few things they set up, but mainly they just had to run from it because Demogorgons are terrifying, which I loved about this so far. They just felt menacing again, which I feel like it was missing beforehand. And so in this episode, they full Home Alone the crap out of this Demogorgon. So many traps set up, burning it, whatever. And the point they shot a tracker inside of it, and it bolted. And then it realized, hey, then Derek woke up, and because they had to drug him to so Vecna would know where they were, and Derek woke up, and he realized, hey, where am I? I don't know these people. Just can I be? Oh, you know, trying to escape from them when they're trying to convince him, hey, this imaginary because all the people that Vecna was after was all saying the imaginary friend. And it was like, they he woke up so Vecna knew where they were, sent the Demogorgon that way. And then Will, when them got close, was able to see through the Demogorgon. And and I do. Mike mentioned that this is probably what happened, and I generally think this is what happened. When she had a bat, Joyce did. She was like swinging it, or like an axe or something. She had a hatchet, I think. She was swinging it. The Demogorgon wasn't attacking it. She kept backing up. And I think that was generally Will like trying to protect her mom. And then we had the Steve, Jonathan, Nancy, and Dustin all in the car, rammed this Demogorgon with the car, goes flying, runs in a gate. And then Steve's like, they talked for legit like a million years. Like, hey, should I like drive through it? Maybe, maybe not. And it's like, no, just we should do it. We should whatever. They did. He floors it and they barely make it because they talked for like 5 minutes. It was, yeah. But I'm like, honestly, he should have just done it. Shouldn't have said anything. Then give them time to figure out afterwards or why you're doing it. But should have done it. Yeah. Anyways, they crashed their car into the wall that's surrounding all of the Upside Down, or surrounding Hawkins in the Upside Down. They don't know why. They were theorizing like because Evan she went after Holly, and so they found the wall and they maybe Holly was behind it because she went with Hopper. Um, then I think in this episode they tried breaking into the military base. Is it this episode or the next one? Whatever. I'll talk about the next one first thing. But Dustin contacts him on the radio, tells him, "Hey, we're on the Upside Down. Can you meet us at this church?" He's like, "Yeah, after this." And I think the episode ends after that. No, it ends with the reveal of who this imaginary friend they're saying is, Mister What's It, who he really is, which I kind of guessed pretty quickly. You know, I was like, "Oh, she's talking." I'm like, when I started talking to no one or whatever, I was like, "I think this is Henry. It's Vecna, right? Yes. Who else is it gonna be?" Yeah, it was Vecna. It was Henry. One, whatever. Derek's on their side now, by the way. He believes them because this monster tried attacking them, and we never see his family really for like the rest of the season. We don't know like how that happened. How they're like, "Hey, Erica, did you drug me and my family?" Like, we don't know how that happened. Um. Anyways, the season 5, episode 4 was peak. The first episode was kind of boring for me. Second episode was alright. Third one was alright. Um, Forgot about that. All right, apologies. I had to go take a bath real quick, and now I'm gonna finish this video up and go to bed. So, wanted to say, I was just talking about Sorcerer, but I don't remember exactly where I left off on it. So, I want to talk about that real quick. Go back to that real quick. Um, so, I'm trying to start over on it, honestly. So, Sorcerer. Will's the big thing about that, so let's not go there yet. Sorry, I was pulling it up. There's also not going to be much editing throughout the video, because whatever. Anyways, episode 4 was my favorite episode of part 1. Easily. I love how it started. They're going to go ahead and, I'm trying to remember exactly how it started, but they're going to go ahead and take, Vecna wanted to get the kids back, and they wanted to save the kids. So they're going to go try saving the kids. And they're going to sneak through the military base, because the military took all the kids in the very beginning of the episode, and they're going to, hey, we have Derek here still, so we sent him through there to, help lure all the kids who've been seeing Mr. What's-It, so they can get him out. And, that plan works for a bit until they accidentally bust a pipe. Whoopsies. They're flooding the entire bathroom. Whatever. Obviously, they eventually get caught. Whatever. It's a very long episode. It's an hour and a half. But as it's closer to the end, this is where it gets interesting. I keep expecting it to end. Wait. Sorry. I keep expecting this episode to end, but the first time I did it was no. Well, first off, Hopper was going to kill himself. You know how insane that is? I was terrified for a second. I'm like, Hopper, better not die, better not die, you better not die. Because he had like a full bomb vest under his thing. Because his plan was if Vecna was trapped by the military, because that's what they thought he was going to pull the pin on it and just kill them both. That was his plan. He says it was a safety precaution, but let's be honest, that was his main plan. Like, he was just going to do that. Wanted El to leave. Oh, they also introduced a kryptonite for El, which was a sound thing that's able to her powers. Anyways, so they go ahead, because they fought Dr. K in there and Hopper knocked her out. And, they also broke into the place and killed quite a few people. But let's ignore that for a second. As it's closer to the end of the episode, Hopper goes into the room alone, leaving El with the kryptonite going off. And he's legit his plan, and that's when she finds out his plan how to kill Vecna. He goes there, and he leaves. Then the kryptonite turns off after a bit. And she's like, she immediately gets up, checks on him, and then before she gets to the door, Hopper opens it, and just standing there, he's like, "You want to see this or whatever?" And El was confused, and they walked towards it. And this, I'm thinking the episode's about to end. I'm like, okay, because something I've theorized is Callie showing back up. Callie, her showing back up. So I'm like, I feel like that makes sense. But anyways, I remember before I had a theory of because they rolled a d20 to they rolled a 20 to kill Vecna in season 4. I was like, oh, maybe they're gonna do that. It's gonna be 11, Callie, who's 8, and then I don't know what one would be. One's just Vecna, so I don't know. But anyways, that was a theory we had since season 4, right? And Evan goes in this room, and yeah, it's Callie. Callie? We'll say Callie. We'll go with that. But anyways, it's 8, right? It's 8. And I'm like, oh my god, episode's about to end. It doesn't. It goes back for a second, continues, and then at the gate, you see like a black figure walking, and then it's like, oh my god. But I think they did right before the reveal. Yeah, it was just during the same time as that reveal of, oh, Callie's here. It was doing, you see Vecna slowly walking towards them. And, approaching the gate, and it opens up, and it is Vecna there. I'm like, crap. Episode's about to end? No, it doesn't. It doesn't end. It keeps going. Vecna came to become like a boss. He stopped the flamethrower. He set off the grenades. He stretched his arm thing out and just stabs him with a heart and pulled it back, whatever. And he was just out there killing the military like nothing. Barely breaking a sweat, Because originally he just said, oh, I forgot to also mention, he sent a bunch of Demogorgons to the military and after everybody as well. That was also a thing. But yeah, Vecna showed up. He killed them all. Like, they're holding off the military, not that the Demogorgons not that well. But yeah, and Vecna eventually he pulls up Will, says, yeah, you know why I took them? Because they're weak. We're weak in the body, weak in the mind, weak in the spirit, and they're easy to break. That's why I took you all a time ago. because you're weak. Holy crap, man. Jesus. Joyce is right there listening to her son get insulted. Will's obviously pretty impacted by it. And then, he leaves and takes the kids with him. So he has all the kids he needs for whatever his plan is. Then he sends more Demogorgons out as well to kill all their friends. He sent 3 out. One to kill, it was about to kill Mike, one about to kill Lucas, one was attacking the truck? Yeah, he was attacking the truck, like Murray and Robin. That. They also, no, that wasn't yet. Anyways, so Will, this is the best moment of the entire series for me. Will, one of the best moments. Will stands up slowly. He does. I think no, maybe he doesn't yet. But you see Demogorgon about to slice Mike, and it just has a zoom in on just his eye, and he looks up at it, and then right before it strikes it, Will just does this and stops it, and it's frozen. With the one about to kill Lucas, Will lifts his other hand, stops it, and the one about to kill Robin or whatever, he just looks up and it stops as well. And then I remember right when I saw that, I'm like, oh my god, do the Vecna, do the Vecna, do the Vecna. He did. He broke all their bones and their necks. And I'm like, holy crap, bro. You have powers? That was the most hype moment in the series. That's also the moment I watched it again on my mom. That's the moment I found out we're related because we had the exact same reaction. Yeah. Anyways, that was really good. That was awesome, dude. That was peak, bro. That was peak right there. Like, actually. It was good writing. And then, because first you see it lifting up and you see Will doing this behind him like 11. And then after everything, I remember my mom, watching my mom, she's like, I have a blade nose. I hope he has a blade nose. Oh, maybe he doesn't. He does! Because then you see the blood come out of his nose and he wipes it off like 11 always does. That's how that episode ends. And I'm like, holy crap. I thought it was going to end with the Vecna taking all the kids and the Demogorgons about to attack. That's what I thought it was going to end the second time. The first time I thought it was going to be Callie and the Vecna thing. But then I'm like, holy crap, that was so good. Bro, it was such good writing. And they make it make sense too. Like, it's like, it's not like he has the same powers as 11. He just can manipulate the hive mind, which is what people are thinking anyways. But I was like, yeah, that's still pretty cool though. Like, that's awesome. Episode 5, and part 2 comes out, Shock Jock. It was cool bringing Mr. Clark into it. I don't have much to say about the episode. It was cool bringing Mr. Clark into it, and the Demogorgon shocking it back to life and seeing the Mind Flayer particles go crazy on it and then burst out of its mouth. That was awesome. I love the Mind Flayer particle stuff. Controversial, I know. But I think it's cool. It's always cool when they do that because for me, it was always like, oh, the big villain of season 2 and 3, but then kind of just got ditched when it's like, Vecna was behind everything. It was always him as the villain. Bro, shut up. I hate that. I love Vecna as villain. Don't get me wrong. Jamie Campbell, whatever his name is amazing as Vecna. Genuinely, he would make a perfect like young Palpatine. I genuinely think he'd be perfect as that kind of role. Anyways, getting sidetracked. Whatever. It was a cool plan. That's all I really remember. I think he traumatized Derek in that episode, where he showed him like, oh, if you betray me again, this is what happened to your dad. I'm gonna do this to your mom. I'm gonna do this to your sister. Listen and stay in line. It's pretty much what he says, word by word. I know, I'm an actor. But then episode 6 happens. Escape from Camazotz. Oh, I didn't even mention I think it was a Turbo Tribe episode. By the end of it, Max shows up in what they call it, Camazotz, is what they ended up calling it. Holy crap, that was awesome. Max, I missed you. She's getting paid so much just to be in a coma is what I thought was going to happen. But then she had like the whole sorcerer thing explaining how it is. Like, it was all Henry's memory. He was scared of this cave. I didn't mention any of that. I'm sorry. But yeah. Escape from Camazotz. They were like, hey, and that's the episode when he traumatized Derek. But that's also the episode where Holly and Max go out to the way to escape. Because Derek was just going to distract him. They're going to run for it. Going through the memories of all Holly's memories with Mr. What's It. And they're going through it. So finally they make it to the whole mind place or whatever of his old house, like whatever that place. And Max is hearing the music again because Lucas is playing for her. Because one of what's happening while that's happening, the hospital that Lucas and all of them and Max is being held. Excuse me. He sent Demodogs in. We haven't seen Demodogs in a while. Season 4, I guess we saw him a little bit. We didn't see him at all in season 3, but season 4 we saw him a little bit. So yeah. But anyways, that was cool. I found out Demodogs had a tail apparently. Didn't know that. My bad. But Demodogs are cool. He's had a body like a little herd of them, which makes sense. They're not as strong as Demogorgons, but they're still up there. Um, yeah, Luke's they're just running for it. Karen has the best her best moment, honestly. Dude, I never been so hyped. They gave her a hero entrance. Like Luke is trying to play the music for her, but they're obviously there's demo dogs and it's not going to go well. And then you see like what the was it I don't know what it was. It was gas or something. I don't know what it was. But it was in like the dryer or whatever, and it was bouncing around, and you can see the flammable symbol. You're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Karen comes in like a hero. They give her a hero's entrance, blows up the demo dogs, killing them. She just walks in, angry, not even able to talk. It's awesome, bro. That was pretty good. I like that a lot. Um, there was something else that happened in that episode. But first, let me get into this. I'm not like, obviously, I'm just following a character at a time, pretty much, is what I'm doing. Also, during while this is happening, they're all finding out. Went to like Dustin, Nancy, Jonathan, and Steve into like Hawkins' lab to find a way to break down the wall because they believe it's a shield generator there or whatever. Anyways, that's happening while this is all happening as well. So we'll go in order, not in order, but okay. So first, the Max stuff. Max, they're trying to escape it. They make it to first. They make it to Holly's actual house, and then Vecna shows up because he obviously knows something's wrong. And then Will has an amazing moment because when they're bringing the Demogorgon to life or whatever, he's able to connect to the hive mind because they specify he has to be close to the hive mind to do it. And then he breaks Vecna's leg, giving them enough time to run for it, And then Vecna stops there, calms down, and just says, "Get out, get out, get out." Yeah, everything was shaking. He knocks Will out, whatever. But whenever Holly and Max finally escape, this music's blasting. It's the best it's ever sounded. They sit there and talk for 5 minutes straight. Please stop doing that. You guys are in a hurry. That song's so long. Max makes it out. And then she's like, I only got out because of you, not the song. Which, looking back, I guess is kind of true. They had a close calls, whatever, but it was always like Luke was always there whenever it was any close call. That was always that. So I guess it could be their way, So kind of I like that a little bit. Holly, then Max does have a really good speech with Holly, and Holly gets out as well. Except she gets out in Dimension X or the Abyss or whatever it's called, and Holly just running for it, trying to escape. As Vecna slowly walks after her, and what she does? Falls from the top of the upside down from Dimension X down. That's where her point of the episode. Wait, no, I'm wrong. That was the next episode. Sorry, wrong. Getting ahead of myself. But anyways, they do find Steven doesn't get in the fight, and Steve actually wins. I know, shocking. Anyways, moving on from that. That was cool, but it was needed. They became besties after that again. It was great because Dustin's been off since Eddie passed away, understandably so. But he needed to come back. I miss my boy. He's always been a great character, the funniest character in the show for me a lot of the time. So like I missed him. Yeah. Steve says some crazy stuff in that fight. But anyways, Nancy and Jonathan find this massive glowing orb. This guy first is invisible, then they make it appear. They're like, okay. Nancy gets out a shotgun and is like, all right, let's do this. Ugh, that's awesome. But Dustin tries to contact them. The radio's not going through. Like, hey, don't. It's not what you think it is. Whatever. Episode ends. That's all that stuff. This episode, I think. But anyways, then there's chapter 7, the bridge. I might be getting a few of these episodes confused because I watched them all. Obviously, I binged them all. But anyways, Nancy eventually does shoot it. See a massive wave of energy come out a little bit. It's still there though, and then a hole in the wall breaks. And then leads to nothing. It just starts sucking things in. And Dustin eventually can explain to them what it is. It's not the wall around Hawkins. Is not around Hawkins. It's the upside down itself. That ball is just holding it together. It wasn't made by Vecna. Without that wall, they're all dead. So if they actually broke from that, all of them would be dead. The entire upside down would be sucked up. Because between the abyss and Earth, The Upside Down is the gateway between them. That's all it is. And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. The Upside Down has the looks and everything from that point in time of Hawkins, but then it has all the monsters and stuff from the Abyss. So kind of, and the atmosphere from it. So it kind of makes sense. And it's kind of cool. Um, anyways, on that note, they they whatever do their thing. Um, they I think it was this episode where Callie pretty much tells Eleven, "Hey, you need to kill yourself." That's what she says. Like actually, it's crazy. I know, but she says that for a reason. She's like, "Hey, what they were doing to me was they kept extracting my blood, trying to give it to pregnant girls, trying to give them the same power that we have. But Henry's the only one that they, because Henry's that's what they used to do with Henry, and that's how they all give them their powers. But the only one of us that's really like Henry is 11. I wasn't really a big fan of that because I'm like, initially I wasn't a big fan of that because I was like, but I think that kind of takes away, like that's like the Mary Sue thing. Like, oh, so she only is that powerful because she's just like Henry, and that's where my mind went. And then I was talking to Megan, and she told me, well, if we think about it, because in season 4 she lost her powers at the end of season 3. Season 4, the whole time she was training so hard to get her powers back, and I'm like, you know what? That helps a lot with me feeling that way. I like that. Then okay, that's fine. That's all right then. So that's not just why she's like that. That's just another thing that Tay is bad. But because Callie wanted her to kill herself, so they wouldn't be able to replicate the experiment though, and that's I guess why the government was so just wanted her. Can't remember what else happens in the episode. Sure, nothing important, right? Oh, Jonathan and Nancy broke up. I guess I don't know. They broke up. Whatever. Um, but then they went into the finale. I did not watch that in theaters. I saw some theater experiences of it, and it actually looked kind of cool. But it was just sold out here by that time. Like it went sold out really quickly. My bad. But it had the perfect ending name, which is The Right Side Up. I thought that was a great name for the episode. They talk about also on the bridge about the plan, which I was really bored in the episode, so I think I missed that back to the whoopsies. Well, I went back and watched it, and I was like, my bad, gang. Whoops. Whatever. Um, Now, no one died up to this point, and I was terrified of multiple characters dying. Hopper, I was like, I can see him dying. They did have a close call though for the season 4 thing. I don't know if they would do it again, but yeah. Max, I doubt they would because that was legit the end of season 4. This season she was brought back, so I doubt they're gonna do that. 11, I doubt they would do only because of Hopper. Would they make Hopper lose another kid? Like Steve, I wouldn't think they would do because it would just be the repeat of an Eddie. Then like Dustin, I could see Dustin dying. That would make sense. You know, maybe he dies in similar style Eddie does because they're doing so much of their character similarities between their characters. Will I could see dying. Like he dies to bring it to finally like he gets vengeance and he wins and he dies, killing the mind for Vecna or something. Something else about this about the Escape from Camel's episode. We know Henry found like a guy there who tried to shoot him or whatever. Henry had his first kill there. So for a second, I'm like, oh, is that why he's scared? Then he had a briefcase and we open it, and we didn't see what was in it. This episode, we saw what was in it. It was a rock. It was a rock. Yeah, it was a rock. But the rock connected him to the mind flare. We find out that Henry was technically flayed the whole time. The whole time he was. That, that's why he has an obsession with spiders. He's obsessed with this animal that looks so similar to the mind flare. It was an obsession with him, which I was so wrong about that. And I'm like, oh, so the mind player started everything again. They brought that. I'm happy they fixed that mistake, and I hated them for it. I hated it. But mind player was big bad again. I loved it. The first hour was straight action. Sit down, doing all the stuff. They freed all these kids. How they sent Max, 11, and Callie all to invade Vecna's mind to free the kids. Callie was actually using her illusion powers. Finally, bro. Your powers are so OP. Use them more. Vecna couldn't even see through them. That's how powerful they were. So, yeah. They're doing great. Max was guiding them through it. Again, being a main character. Slate Queen. um, Eleven was baiting out Henry and showed, and Callie was hiding all the kids, so all the kids watched what Henry really was and saw him become Vecna, and they all ran for it, running to that cave. They all made it. Derek almost didn't, but eventually, Holly saved him. Whoa! Henry was forcing himself to go in the cave, but the kids needed to run. Henry was in the cave at that point, and the kids needed to get out. Like they needed to run, they needed time. Holly grabbed that metal thing she had in the episode 6, went up to Henry and smacked him in the face with it twice. I think it was twice. But anyways, I was like, that's cool because in like the first episode, she had the whole thing of against the Demogorgon. Or first 2 episodes, she was like against the Demogorgon. It was like she didn't try fighting it. She didn't run. She froze in fear. In this, she did not freeze in fear. She did not run. She fought to protect someone else. And that was awesome. Holly the heroic, right? That was awesome. Oh, I didn't even mention the whole in episode 6, they had like, oh, it was a door, in Traveling Through Memories. Mike mentioned to her that Holly the Horror, one of the things she does is dimension travel or whatever, where she can travel dimensions, whatever. Like that was cool. It's a cool little callback. Excuse me. Also, anytime they kept doing Will flashbacks. I didn't even mention my favorite thing about episode 7. Oh my god, I'm so bad at my job. My favorite thing about episode 7 was the Will coming out scene. No, episode 6? I think that was? Yeah. That was beautiful. That was really well done. It was long, I get that, but it was reasonably long. I don't know why everyone was there. That was a little weird. I'm like, Murray, what the crap are you doing here? Vicky, why are you here? Erica, you at least knew him for your whole life. That at least makes more sense. In my opinion, it should have been Joyce, Mike, Jonathan, and Robin all there. Maybe, but honestly, I'm really okay with Dustin and Lucas and 11 being and Max being there because they're like his best friends. That too. Even like Steve, I'm like, all right, I get it. He's the babysitter, whatever. Some of them are just weird. Hopper makes sense too because he's dating his mom. Yeah, that makes sense, right? But just some of them are just weird. I mean, his teacher even. I'm like, as much as I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you knew that for a long time. But also I'm like, but you're the teacher, bro. You were their teacher. Why are you here? But don't say he's gay. He didn't also say he liked Mike in the finale, like I thought he was going to. But I guess in that episode he really hinted at it. He like looked directly at Mike and was like, yeah, and I do have this crush on this person, but I know they don't feel the same way I do. Like, but he looked right at Mike when he said that, so it's like saying without saying it, without having to say it and making it awkward. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Episode 8. Holy crap! They. I kept thinking people were gonna die, but then they kept not. So much happened this episode. I'm just gonna do a really quick recap instead of talking because it's been 20 minutes. It's been like 30 minutes actually, me yapping. So whatever, they get the kids out. Everyone makes it to Dimension Next, the abyss. I'm gonna call it the abyss. So everyone makes it to the abyss to get Vecna. As Will gets closer, he starts freaking out, getting more and more whatever, distraught. Then you have the flashback of the cave stuff, and Henry being Will like getting upset for Henry and what happened with him. And he's like, don't you get it? You were just like me this whole time. We're the same. Mike even said you're just like Vecna to Will in like episode 7 or episode 5, and obviously Henry like was breaking down in tears, like the adult him. He was like, "Don't you get it? It wasn't. I wanted it. I needed him, and he needed me." And had that whole speak. That was insane. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm happy they're not redeeming him. But that was so emotional. I love this episode. I love the first half. It was actually great. There was one really big thing I did not like about the first half at all. At all. I didn't like this, and I'll get there. So you had the thing that looked like Vecna's hand, which I thought it was. It's like just looked at it. I was like, oh, that's cool. It's like moving. And then Vecna, they're all here. He said this is moving. Boom, one leg, two leg, and at that point I'm like, it's a mind flare. Oh my god, it has an actual body. It did. It had an actual body. God, it was a massive spider-looking monster, kind of looked like the Motos from Godzilla, except those are moths, not spiders, but whatever. But anyways, it looked awesome. It was the scariest it's ever looked, honestly. What are they gonna do against this thing? Bro, they kept getting flamethrowers, there's flare guns, the oil, whatever it was. Oh my god, good weapons, spears, trying to beat the crap out of this thing. It was very reminiscent of the season 3 fight with that like the flare, the goo flare, whatever it was, the flesh flare, whatever it was called. It was very reminding me a lot of that, which I liked. I love that a lot. Like they keep having Will flashbacks too, and a lot of it was like season 2 stuff, you know. So it's cool. I just wanted to mention that was awesome. Obviously, there are season 4 flashbacks throughout the season because that's legit. Like this is like part 2 of season 4, pretty much this season. But anyways, I was really enjoying this. And then right when I see 11 show up, I'm like, oh my god, yes. She runs to him like, 11, you barely took on an arm of this thing. What are you going to do? You remember that? Season 2, she barely took on an arm of it, and that wasn't. Was that even its full body? Because it wasn't its actual body then. That was like just a projection of itself in the upside down. That was it. Soul can exist there probably. So the hive mind can exist. Whatever. Go to Earth, I guess. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but whatever. So she doesn't. She does not take on the mind flare. She rips open his chest, goes inside of it to fight Henry. And I'm like, love that. That's cool. Go. But anyways, the gang starts talking like Nancy. Oh, they also had a close call of killing Steve. But I'm like, no, they're not gonna kill him like that. No, they're not. They're fine. He's fine. He ended up being fine. But anyways, they had a little talk about like, okay, wait, we need someone to be bait. Nancy's like, I'll do it. And I'm like, Nancy, I didn't think about you dying. Don't do this. Don't do this to me. Okay, I love you, Nance. Don't die. Please don't die. Actually, she didn't die. You know, I generally think it would have been nice if Dustin did, but I'm kind of fine if he didn't. You know, it would have. Yeah, Will I kind of really expected to. Same with his other character, 11, who went up against Vecna. You know, they kept having the power match, but we already knew 11 was kind of stronger than him. Since anytime they fought, like anytime those minor things they fought, 11 always won. And they actually fought, like when she was 11, she won. Which even Henry was like, I'm a lot more powerful than I was then. So is 11. She's so much stronger than she was then. And she proved it. But she was trying to push him back or whatever. Their powers, whatever, it was very equal. Then he tried using his arm stretchy thing, and then it stopped right before it hits her. She got scared for a second. I'm like, that wasn't her stopping it. What happened? And then it shows Will, you know, holding it back, pulling it, whatever, stopping him from doing it. And I'm like, oh my god, they're doing it together? That's so good. Then she pushed him right into a spike, stabbing him. So I'm like, yeah, and you saw blood. And I'm like, he was human. Yeah, that makes sense. He's dead, right? And the mind flare goes down. I'm like, why is that dead? You're shooting fire at it. Yeah, it's gonna burn it and hurt it or whatever. And Vecna's getting hurt. Obviously, that's gonna hurt it because the hive mind. But when a Demogorgon dies, Vecna doesn't die. When one Demogorgon dies, other ones don't die. Why is the Mind Flayer dead? It should be stronger than Vecna. Genuinely, it should be. Why is it dead? I did not like that at all. I hated that actually so much. But the Vecna was still alive, but the Mind Flayer was dead though, so I didn't get it. That didn't make any sense to me. And then Joyce walks up to it. Oh, also Eleven got there because the busting she practiced in like the first episode. She did that, but like on giant rocks. I should probably also mention. Oh, and she had the best kill in the series, where she made the guy, the military guy I mentioned earlier, shoot himself in the head. That was awesome and worth it. Anyways, Callie died. She got shot. I wasn't sad about it. I was like shocked that that's how it happened, but I was like, you know, okay, she died. You know, I wasn't whatever. Not that's not the emotion they wanted me to feel, and I do not think that was my fault, genuinely. But you know, she said my story ends here. Ah, that's what happened. No diss to her actress. It's just the character itself. I'm not like whatever, you know. Anyways, I got distracted. So Vecna's barely moving, you know, whatever. Joyce pulls out her hatchet, goes up to him, starts hatching away at his neck. And I'm like, oh my, well, first, before she does that, it zooms in on Joyce. And I'm like, Joyce is going to kill him. Please do it. Megan, who doesn't like Joyce, was still like, oh my god, yes. She loved that moment. And she got the axe sliced over and over again. I don't quite know how she busted through the white veins. Maybe because the mind flayer was dead. So it was like weaker because those are bulletproof. So, oh, Vecna also got a new design this season that looks better than he ever did. But anyways, she kept hatching away. Every time she hatched away one hack at his neck, you zoomed on a character there, showed everything Vecna did to that person up to that point. And then for every single character until eventually, she did it. She cut off his head. Thank God 2 more didn't go back. I was scared Hydra was going to show up. I mean, God. Holy crap. And after that, I'm like, hey, gang, there's an hour left. What are they going to do? Then you had like another 10 minutes or whatever of like the military stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is going to be a next hour, I guess. I don't know. Maybe like the next like 30 minutes, because have like 30 minutes to wrap everything up. That's enough time to do that. Well, the military caught them all, but then 11 wasn't there. She was inside of the Upside Down because what they also did is put a bunch of C4 or whatever explosives on at the weird matter thing ball that was going to destroy the Upside Down if they blew it up or whatever. She's still there, and then eventually, she also had a talk with Hopper that was really emotional at the beginning of the episode, and I'm like, Eleven's dying in this episode. Was my immediate reaction, but she had a tough conversation with Mike here, and I was like, oh my god, I started crying, dude. That was so emotional. I grew up with her. I'm essentially the same age as her. So watching her die was sad. It was really sad. The thing blew up, took her, and the Upside Down was gone. We never saw the military again. Or Vicky, Robin's girlfriend. We didn't see the rest of the episode. I was kind of hoping we'd see them at Enzo's, but whatever. All right. So that was sad. It was really sad. Then we had 50 minutes to wrap up everything. Aragorn's character. I understand wrapping up characters. It's the end of a 10-year journey, and it was emotional watching it. I enjoyed it, but it was just long. That was my only complaint. It was just too long. Dustin obviously had his Eddie speech or Eddie thing at his graduation. That was great. Max graduated. I'm not as confused about that as other people. I'm like, she had 18 months to catch up, do get everything that's due, catch up with other classes that she needed to do. Whatever. Like, I feel like that's enough time to do that. It's not insane. She's not like she can go ahead and do online classes. But, even if she needed to heal, she can still do schoolwork while she's healing. I don't get real confused about that. Robin was sounding pretty upset. She was having like an emotional thing over the radio. Wrapping that up. Steve, Jonathan, Nancy, and Robin all had a moment on the rooftop. Whatever. Nancy doesn't go with any of them. So I'm like, what was the point of this love triangle if it doesn't have a conclusion? Whatever. Yeah. If anything, but I mean, they ended it in a way in episode like 7 or whatever that it didn't feel like it should be any of them at that point in time. But it was still, I don't know. I was wishing for one of them, or one of them to die so she goes to the other one. Whatever. I'm not upset about it at all. Anyways, sorry, this video is going on way longer than I wanted it to. But anyways, then we had Hopper and Joyce. Hopper proposing. It was awesome. I didn't need it though, only because in my head they're already married. I know they weren't, but I'm just like, oh yeah, they had the whole lives together. Obviously, they're adults. They're married. Let's be honest, right? I'm so sorry for thinking that. But it's also been 2 years in season 4, and even then it was season like 2 to 3. They were having a lot of stuff together, especially in season 3. Then she dies. He comes back. They spend like a chunk of season 4. Then you have 2 years together. Why aren't they married yet? Maybe because the government was after them, so they couldn't officially get married. I don't know, because they went after Hopper, only 11. So I don't know. Right. You had Mike not wanting to go to graduation too at one point, but then he convinces them. Lucas Hopper convinces Mike. Have a nice speech about like, maybe it's nice to have something to hold on to, have hope or something. Just hold on to it. It'll help. I think that's what he's doing. You had Max and Lucas go on the movie date. They honestly amazing. I love their relationship so much. It's so good. And I'm so happy that that's what they did with their characters, and I love it. They all kind of had a moment. Will even met a guy at a bar. Just saying. Good for him. Honestly, good for him though. Yeah. Mike had a. No, this is the end of the episode I'm at now. Mike had a thing. They were playing D&D with Max, who seemed so confused for a lot of it, And I'm like, that's so valid, girl. My girl, though. I don't blame you for being confused. I don't. I played D and D when I was like younger. I don't know like remember like anything now. I remember there's like different types of dice for different things, and like, obviously, a lot of Stranger Things monsters are based on D, and they use are named after D&D characters at least. And they pull references up like the Upside Down is named after thing, whatever. They do that, but it's not like they're based on anything. And obviously, your main characters play it, but whatever. And they all have a conversation. Not a conversation. They finish their campaign. It's like, yeah, we win. Will saves the day. Cast fireball. No, but he saves the day by summoning the witch or whatever she was. Then they're like, hey, what happens afterwards? Like, oh, this girl, you know, she goes out. She actually has she dies. To beat the end of it all. She dies destroying the evil permanently, and she but her real story is one that no one can ever know. And it's like her real story, and he's like, yeah, the real story is she knew someone who could create powerful illusions, really undetectable to the human eye, and it starts just going through flashbacks of like, oh, maybe Eleven's alive. Maybe Callie created an illusion for her to she actually didn't die or whatever. Now, and one of the big things is because Elle's power, she reached Mike without, even though she was in the Upside Down, he was not. But the bridge, they're still really close to the kryptonite going off or whatever. She was able to use her powers on Mike and talk to them mentally and do whatever. And she was showed her like in the mountains doing whatever, and I'm like, all right, that's a really open ended. I did not like that too much, and I didn't like not knowing what the stone was. They also kept having Henry be in high school for some reason. Henry never was in high school, not that we know of, so I don't know what that was about, or what those flashbacks are about. So hopefully that's explained at some point in the spin-off they're doing. So hopefully, but yeah. Now I want to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is 11, if she's dead or alive. Because I watched quite a few videos about people's different theories of why she's alive and not. I want to talk about first why she could be alive and why I think she's dead. We'll go through it. First, I was very hesitant to believe. I'm like, why have it unless she's alive? But whatever. And people point out, oh, I don't think I saw like her had two in her arm and she was dying. But I'm like, but she's in the upside down. But I'm like, well, that tattoo's pretty small. You shouldn't see it. Whatever. Um, good. They could have had Callie. She could have survived the bullet shot, and she did the illusion. Whatever. Maybe she's alive. You know. Again, why have it? But I think she's dead. And this is why. She didn't just have to survive the bullet shot. I mean, this is a universe of powers exist. She survives a bullet shot. That's not insane. Um, she was gonna die soon anyways. If she lasted like an hour, that's whatever. I mean, she just didn't bleed out. Whatever. She has powers. I don't know. But it wasn't just that. It was the exomatter. I think that's what it was called, or something like that. That blew up at the place she was at, bleeding out. Before 11 vanished. Then after that, whatever, you have a bit of 11 saying goodbye, whatever, all that stuff, and yeah. Obviously, you have the other side of things again, where she makes you alive because the kryptonite wasn't affecting her powers. It wouldn't have done that. She was far away. But on the other side of things, she was in another dimension. She's dead. I genuinely think she's dead. And I think the main reason of why I have it is to show that Mike has this hope he's holding on to. Because he also is like, I'm choosing to believe it, and everyone else agrees. He wants everyone to hold on to it. And have this faith, and that helps them. Then they have the final act. And also, Mike's also part in the show. He becomes a writer, which is kind of cool. He's a storyteller, right? Since episode 1, he was a storyteller, and it's kind of just nice. He has a way to express his stories now. It's cool. Now, final thing. The way it ended was really beautiful and emotional. You had them all playing D&D again. You did that whole snippet, and then they all got up. Well, not they all. First, Max got up. They all had like little notebooks or whatever. Max got up, put her book away, went upstairs. Dustin got up, put his book away, went upstairs. Lucas got up, put his book away, went upstairs. Will got up, put the book away, went upstairs. And then my music's getting more and more intense. Then Mike finally puts the book away, goes upstairs. And as he's going upstairs, Holly, Derek, the one girl we met in one of the episodes in Shock Jock, I think, the beginning of that or whatever. No, the beginning of Sorcerer. Yeah, the beginning of Sorcerer. Her and like two other guys, or a guy, yeah, two other guys, I think. No, it was a guy and a girl. Because it was also Holly's friend from school or whatever. They also set up things like, oh, shouldn't be fun. This is like a nerd thing. No, no, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And Holly sets up her first ever D&D campaign. It was really cool. It was like moving on to the next generation of kids. Gonna do it, whatever. It was awesome. Really emotional. I was crying. It was great. After credit scenes were also beautiful. There's a bunch of drawings of throughout the series, and it was cool. I also just mentioned Hopper lost his beard that he was growing, and he had the exact same look he did in season one as the sheriff. That was awesome. I love seeing that. But it was over. And I'm like, I don't know how to recover now. This is kind of the last show from my childhood that was still going on, really. You know? This is crazy. Like, how do I move on from that? I still don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I started watching after season two came out. Right after season two came out. So for me, this has been 9 years. And it's all gone. That's it. It's over. You know? So when I have a family, showing them Stranger Things is going to be crazy because they're not going to have to wait 3 years between seasons for it to come out. So I didn't watch season 4 when it first came out. I watched it a year later. And then my family ended up spoiling that Henry was, or not that Henry, that Vecna was one. I didn't think about the kid Henry, and I also didn't think about the guy at the whatever Hawkins lab. But anyways, that was it. It was a series, and it was beautiful. And I don't have any more to say about it. It was really well written. That said, good night. Good night. Why am I saying good night? It's morning for you guys. Night for me. I'm going to bed though. It's 12:20 and I have school tomorrow. Like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications because I barely post. And then they find me enjoyable. So that said, see you, pros.